All right, hello. So this talk is going to be on ATP and cell energy. All right, and so ATP is the molecule of cell energy, and ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. Okay, so let's just go over the basic structure of this molecule. I like to think of ATP as a battery, and it has a charged and uncharged state. Okay, its uncharged state is ADP, or adenosine diphosphate. Okay, di meaning two. Okay, so this structure has an adenosine, which is a amino acid, and then two phosphates bonded together to that adenosine, like you see in this picture. Okay, now, as you might remember, chemical bonds store energy. Okay, we talked about that back in enzymes and activation energy. Okay, so these bonds are storing energy. Okay, now ATP, adenosine triphosphate, okay, you're adding another phosphate to this, and the way this works is to put one phosphate on an adenosine, it takes just a little bit of energy. To put the second one, it takes a bit more. To put the third one on, it takes a lot of energy. Okay, so this is a high energy bond. Okay, so you can think about that bond right there, it's stored energy. Okay, so if we were to take that phosphate off, we would release that energy stored in that bond. Okay, releasing the energy. Okay, so ATP is a cellular battery. ATP is the charged state. ADP, adenosine diphosphate, is the uncharged battery. Alright, so how does this work? Okay, so changing ADP to ATP. Alright, now this happens in the membrane of the mitochondria. Okay, and there's a whole, we'll talk about it when we talk about cell respiration in about a week. Okay, but this is a good working model for right now. Okay, so we have ADP here on the bottom. Okay, when we add energy from food, we're and a phosphate. Okay, we can, through a series of enzymes, attach that phosphate, okay, to ATP, and then when we break off that third phosphate, we release that energy. And that's basically it. It's very simple from that. Okay, ADP to ATP, and it can be recharged many, many times. Okay, just like a rechargeable battery. All right. So cell uses ATP. Here's just a different kind of representation. Adenosine. There's a ribose on there. Okay, but you don't really need to know the full structure here. Okay. And it's just what we talked about before, just a different model to look at. Okay, and then I have a video here that's going to show how this works in action.
The sodium-potassium pump is an active transport mechanism. 3 sodium ions bind to the protein channel, and an ATP provides the energy to change the shape of the channel that in turn drives the ions through the channel. One phosphate group from the ATP remains bound with the channel. The sodium ions are released on the other side of the membrane outside of the cell, and the new shape of the channel has a high affinity for potassium ions, and 2 of these ions now bind to the channel. This binding again causes a change in the shape of the protein channel, and this conformational change releases the phosphate group on the cytoplasm side. This release allows the channel to revert to its original shape, and as a result, the potassium ions are released inside the cell.
Alright, so I'm going to pause the video there. It's going to go through it again, but so you can see it. But here's what happens. Okay, ATP binds with these different proteins that are going to utilize the energy. Okay, that protein will then split off that phosphate, and it will cause what's called a conformational change, or the protein will change shape because of that energy. Okay, and then it can do that function. All right, in this case, it's a active transport protein, but it could be any protein in your cells. Okay, it kind of works in a similar mechanism for all proteins. All right, so let's watch it one more time, and hopefully you will see it again.
In its original shape, the channel has a high affinity for sodium ions,
ATP,
and when these ions bind again, they initiate another cycle.
Okay, the energy was given to that.
The important characteristic of this pump is that both sodium and potassium ions are moving from areas of low concentration to areas of high concentration. In other words, each ion is moving against its concentration gradient.
Okay, so there you saw it again. Okay, the ATP came in, it bound to that protein, gave up its energy by breaking off that third phosphate, causing a change in the protein that could do a function. And that's how your cells work right there. And that's how all the energy in your body is utilized in that same way. Okay, and it's, again, it's all from ATP. You have trillions of this molecule floating around your body right now. All right, so I just wanted to end with the 3 essential questions, okay, from this outcome number 1. Okay, so what's the chemical makeup of ATP? For me, all you have to know is what the word means: adenosine triphosphate. Okay, so an adenosine and 3 phosphate groups. Okay, what is ADP? Okay, so ADP is adenosine diphosphate. Okay, that's the uncharged battery. And then how does it form to make ATP? Okay, so by adding that third phosphate, you're adding the energy that the cell is going to use. Okay, so by clicking on this phosphate, you're storing energy in that bond. And when that phosphate's broken off, it releases that energy. How do cells extract energy from ATP? Okay, it binds with the protein. Okay, that phosphate group is broken off, giving the energy directly to the protein or the enzyme, causing a conformational shift in the shape of it so it can do its function. All right, and so those are the 3 things you should know about ATP. It's really not very difficult. From here, we'll go to photosynthesis, and we'll see how ATP is used in that process, as well as learning a much more complicated process. So this week I would spend a little bit of time learning about cell energy and ATP, and the majority of your week really focusing on photosynthesis. The quiz will be photosynthesis heavy. All right, you guys, good luck. And if you have any questions, again, email me, text me, or just call me up. A lot of you are getting really good at this, but I'd like everyone to take advantage of it if you have any questions. All right, have a great week. See you later.